Boom, we're live, baby.
Let's go.
Hey, man. So fresh off the pro debut win, how's it feeling?
Man, honestly, I'm still in like somewhat of disbelief, but it's like I really did that, So it takes me a little bit to process things, just because like I just made a post about it earlier on my Instagram, but it's like ever since I was a little kid, I always knew I wanted to be a fighter. It's just, the process and the journey that it took to get to that level. It's been a lot of ups and downs, a lot of failures, a lot of just learning really. But, the fact that, I was able to have such a spectacular professional debut, it feels incredible. I'm grateful. I'm honored. Big shout out to Anthony Sims for, giving us a platform through Magic Promotions. So, I'm still, it's not like disbelief, but it's like I'm still soaking it in, like I'm starting to come to terms with it.
So what was your before we like dive into your background and everything, like what did it feel like? This was your pro debut. Obviously, you have a lot of experience, which we'll get into, but like what were your feelings leading up to when the fight was announced to even, like when like it was, fight week? Like what were the emotions and everything going into it?
So are you talking about like when the fight was announced, like, or are you talking about like the day of the fight?
So when the fight was announced, when you found out, hey, I'm on the card, and
Yeah.
then also like what were your emotions during that fight week, like leading up, like, oh, it's like my time now, like I'm finally
Okay.
here.
So whenever it was first announced, the amount of support I got was crazy, dude. It was, like I was pumped because like I've been wanting to go pro for so long. Just never the chance never really presented itself. Had some stuff, some life obstacles we'll call it. So the fact whenever they announced it, I was ecstatic, But and we'll get into it, but it's like I was also very overweight. Um, before, I know the other day we talked at gloves and we talked about my diet and stuff, but we can get into that. But
Yeah,
and then
I need all the advice you got on
I'm not a professional, man, but
that,
not when it comes to the diet stuff. But then like, the leading up to the fight, I was just getting myself in that mental preparation, because it was like you start to doubt, you start to question. Every fighter goes through it. The person that tells you, any fighter that tells you that they're not, you know, nervous or they got some stuff in the back of their head, they're lying. Because, that whole week I really couldn't sleep, man. It was crazy because I was just like so so excited. I was just like I wanted to be like it was Monday and I'm like, fuck, I want it to be Saturday. Like I want to just get in there and do my thing. Um, and then like the day of the fight, I was I woke up, I was feeling good and I was like, today's the day, and I was okay until I got to the venue. Once I got to the venue, oh dude, I was like I had butterflies. And it's one of those feelings that it was just like um for me it's like if I don't have butterflies and it's just like I guess what I believe in, but if I don't have butterflies, I feel like I'm not gonna do well, so um once it was like fight night, dude, ooh, like it was like, and then I started seeing people coming in and everything, my family, my friends, I was like, shit, I was like, this is like, I gotta make sure I gotta put on a good show, so,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah, there is like probably that like somewhat sense of pressure, but also like the balance of excitement where it's like, man, I got a lot of people here. I gotta put on a show, but also if I do my job, I know I'm gonna put on a show regardless. Um,
absolutely.
and kind of elaborating on like, man, if it's like the day of and I feel like, yes, you want to feel calm, cool, and collected and everything, but like if I just feel too calm and relaxed and be like, man, mentally, what if I'm too relaxed and you start to overthink and then you're just kind of because there's that mental battle too. I mean, I
No,
don't gotta tell
absolutely.
you, obviously, but um, I will say so. I wasn't able to attend the fight, but I saw probably every video highlight clip on social media. And man, you got you to let's say the casual who doesn't understand boxing. Like I mean, we can get into my knowledge of the sport, I guess, at some point. But there's the term, the Mexican style boxing. So like if you want to kind of elaborate what that means, to me, it's pretty much like it's a dogfight. It's entertaining. It's scrappy. And it's a beautiful art. And that's kind of what I took away from watching your fight, man. It was entertaining as hell. And yeah,
Thank you.
man, it was exciting. It was exciting to see for sure.
Yeah, so to elaborate on like the Mexican style, like so I think over the years it's definitely evolved, but the Mexican style is considered like, it's just a pressure fighter. It's somebody that's just coming at you, like you can, like I'll take a punch so I can give you two, three back.
Absolutely.
It's very just, it's very pressure fighting, a lot of just in your face, a lot of punches, especially a lot of body work.
Yep.
And that's one thing that I was like kind of pissed this fight because like I felt like I didn't do enough body work. Because I started to get a little like punch happy, I guess. But that's one thing that, I wish I could have done a little bit better, but obviously, with time, it'll get better. But, and like for me, like, and for for those that actually like, they know boxing, they've been around, like to me, the greatest, I have like a top three of like my personal like favorite Mexican fighters, and
Okay.
I try to emulate. I really try, but it's hard because they're different fighters, so I can't completely copy their style. But as far as the like the style itself, then I can. Oh, sorry, give me one sec.
Oh, you're good, man. I got dogs too.
Yeah, I don't know what they're always barking at something. Give me one sec. Hold
Yeah,
on.
yeah, you're good, man. There we go. We're back. We're back, man. It's
Awesome.
all good. It's all...
Yeah, sorry about that. Dogs be crazy. They're always they're the best like security I have because they hear anything and
Oh
you
yeah,
know.
man. Yeah.
But going back to so I have three that I look up to. Like those are like my top three, and for me, well, actually, we could
Is it one of those things where if I ask you who your top three are, and then I ask you again in 5 minutes, that three could be in a different order?
no, because it's not any specific order. So because
Okay, good. That's
yeah,
good.
because like I have three like top boxers, right, that I look up to, and I try to emulate, and I try to be like that. So especially when it comes to like technique, fighting, just overall. Because like if we say like because if we say like Mexican fighters, there's three that I really like, but there's also one of them, he's not Mexican, but he's Latino, if that makes sense. Which I'm talking
Who
about
are the
Roberto
three?
Duran. So
Okay,
yeah,
he's
yeah,
man.
he's Panamanian, right? But um, he's obviously not Mexican. But so for me, like my top three is it's been Julio Cesar Chavez. That's like, that's
Yeah.
the how do you guys say it? The cream of the crop, or for
Yeah.
me, and then obviously Roberto Duran. So that's, and then not a whole lot of people know him because he was in the smaller weight classes, but his name is Ricardo Finito Lopez. Dude, if you don't know who that is,
I knew who that is.
okay, so he has beautiful, beautiful boxing, and that's something that I try to do, right, is have proper technique because he was, like just technically gifted. He one of the most like perfect fighters, I think, but he also had that very um he was very technical, right? Very precise, very he set up his shots, and I try to in a way emulate that. But then, when it comes to a dog fight, then, we gotta fight,
Yeah.
that's when the Chavez, the Duran, that's when that comes out, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, that definitely makes sense. I remember many, many, many years ago, Floyd Mayweather said, I didn't try to be like anyone. I tried to take something from,
Hmm.
you know, Ali to Tyson. I tried to take all these things, and then I just created my own thing in a way. I mean, if you ask him that again, he's gonna say, no, there's only one Floyd Mayweather. I did it all myself.
Yeah.
You know how Floyd is. Um, I was curious who your top three were gonna be because I wanted to ask you that at some point, but those are three solid picks, man. I can't
Yeah,
really go
those
against those. Obviously, I mean,
I mean, my thing is like, there's a lot of great fighters, like, a lot of great world-class fighters, there's a lot of fighters that I look up to, even if, like not necessarily that they're Latino, it's just, like one of my personal favorites, Sugar, that's one of my dudes. Like that's him. I like, Whitaker, and now we're talking about like American boxers, right?
yep.
Tyson, Ali, of course, the greats, but it's like for me, like those are like my top three. And that's what I've always tried to emulate. But I say that, but then it's like in the amateurs, because see, it's a hard topic just because like I have so many people that I've taken so many things away, like kind of like what you said, right? It's like, you pick and choose. So, because I like to throw a lot of punches, right? I love volume punching, like, and I took that from Manny Pacquiao. So in the amateurs, it's
I was just
super
gonna
important.
guess. The
Yeah,
first person that
it's
comes to mind when I hear volume, I think of Manny.
yeah. So, in the amateurs, it was always like it's whoever throws the most amount of punches and the most significant punches that's gonna win. And most of my amateur fights, I won based on volume, right? And it's just like I would just, incorporate that, that Mexican style that with volume. That's literally like how I won a lot of my fights was just based on that and just being in better shape because um especially the amateurs, right? Because now that I transition over to the professional, it's a little different. But in amateur boxing, you got to stay busy. If you're not fighting in the open division, you're fighting 2-minute rounds compared to like if you're in the open division, you're fighting 3-minute rounds.
Right.
So, the punch up was very different.
So to kind of transition into that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but four-time Golden Glove state champion of Indiana,
Yes,
which is
sir.
just incredible to think about. Um, so for your very first Golden Gloves, it was 2006. Your first championship was 2016.
Yes. Yep,
Okay.
that's correct.
Did you have any amateur fights before then?
I so be
Or
besides like
when did your whole amateur career start? Like, how old were you? Like, how many years ago was this?
So I've been training since I was a little kid actually, but it wasn't
Okay.
necessarily boxing. With my dad, we would hold pads. So my dad's actually he's a retired professional boxer in Mexico. He was actually a national Golden Glove champion in Mexico. And then so when we were younger, we would slap fight, but he would just play around with me, he didn't really take it too serious. Um, because like obviously I was still a little kid, and my dad never wanted me to fight. He didn't want any of his kids to fight. But I used to be like, believe it or not, I was actually a little shithead when I was younger. Like I've always been a hyperactive, kid. Um, I can't really sit still. So whenever I was younger, I started like I would say like training, because I started off with Taekwondo when I was 11.
Okay.
So so I have my black belt in Taekwondo. I did that when I was 11 to about 20, and I did a lot of like, just tournaments. So um and then I got into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and mixed martial arts, obviously. But like my amateur like boxing career really didn't start till I was, that was that first year that I won it, really like 2016. Because my first fight I actually fought at not heavyweight, or no, yeah, it probably was heavyweight. My first fight was at 203. I
Okay.
remember because I was fat.
Big boy.
Yeah, I was a big boy. Yeah. I got a funny anecdote about that one because I used to come into the gym and my coach he'd call me Bumblebee because I was I was a little ball, bro, and I
Little
was always
puffed up.
wearing, yeah, I
Little
was
puffy.
puffed up, and I was always wearing yellow and black. So
Okay.
I look like a bumblebee, and I love my Coach Pat. He's funny. He's you know Coach Pat, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I actually, it's funny because I had one of my favorite pairs of gloves I ever had were Cleatos, and they were
Uh,
yellow. And I'm pretty sure someone called me Bumblebee at Title when I'd roll in with there. They're the best gloves, man.
Yeah, they
Say
are.
what you
It's
want.
just
Cleto Reyes, best gloves out there. Sponsor me if anyone hears this.
man, me and you both. That's what
Yeah.
I want. I want some nice sponsorships.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, my amateur career started whenever, yeah, like 2016. Started training like 2015. I started taking it more serious. Um And then yeah, my first fight was at 203. I won my first Golden Gloves at 178. That was yeah, because I started going down,
Yep.
just leaning down, and then I won it three times at 165.
Don't
So
you
that
wish
was
there was a weight class between 170? Is it 176 or 178?
so
170.
it used to be 178, but now
Okay.
it's I think it's 176 from last time that
And
I
then it
checked.
goes from 176 to 203 plus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's got to be something in the middle, man. There's, there
The hey,
should, but
you know, I don't make the rules, I just the weight classes.
I got you.
But yeah, that was yeah, that was my first Golden Glove was at 178. It was I fought against this one guy. He was obviously tall. Like, dude, most of my career I have fought tall dudes, lanky dudes, stocky built dudes. I mean, just the guy that I just my opponent, for my pro debut, shout out to him, respect to him. I have nothing but love and respect. Anybody that I share the ring with, love and respect because it's you know, we're putting our lives on the risk. But even him, like that was the first time I actually got to fight somebody who was about my height. He was a little shorter, but you know, about my height. But he was still stocky, dude. Like that
Yeah,
dude was diesel. He
yeah, he was
was
yoked.
yeah, bro. I was like, damn, dude. I was like, I gotta fight you. Holy shit, But you know, cool dude. Very humble. So nothing but love and respect. For everybody that I step in the ring with. So.
Absolutely. Okay, so 2017 was 178,
No, that was 165.
165, and then you
Yep.
just kept.
And then I just
Actually,
stayed
you
at
stayed there. Yeah, that's
yep,
right. You
yep.
stayed there.
I
Okay.
yeah, that's whenever I was in my hot boy summer, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I leaned down and
Yeah.
dude, I mean it's just like so the old gym at on Washington Street,
Hmm.
bro, that was like a sauna like hotter than a sauna. You went in there and I was just training just year round, there was a year that I fought like 13 times in a year. So, just being in fight shape, just staying ready. That was just, I was just always staying on weight. Unless it was the holidays, then obviously I'd
Yeah.
blow up a little bit. But
Yeah. That's one thing that I actually love about where the where IBG is now. I mean, I've been there for a couple years now, but um, going on those humid mornings
bro,
or just in July or something, you got the garage doors open and it's just
it's
2 3 minutes. Actually, when you're getting set up, when you're getting your gear on, you're already starting to get sweaty. Like, all right, this is gonna be a good workout. Seems like
but
it.
but see but that's good though because dude, I remember one time I fought it. It was it was outside. It was in an outside venue, and it was whenever it was the fair was going on. I forget if it was the state fair or I don't remember.
That's
But
August or something around
yeah,
that time.
dude,
Yeah.
I fought in some blazing heat, but I didn't really feel it as much because I was already used to it. Now
Hmm.
everybody there that fought, you could tell they were a little, weathered, and the heat got to them. But obviously, like IBG, we're a fight gym. We train to fight, whether it's coach always says, we fight in whatever cages, pits, bare knuckle, winter, summer, whatever it is. So
Um. Yeah. I mean, I've been there when. Yeah. Like I said, I've only been there a couple of years now. I've known Damien for probably like six. I knew Damien a little bit after I moved out here, because he was a trainer at Title Boxing, and then when I moved out here in 2016, that's when I started going to Title. So I've known him for a
nice.
while, but I've really been training more with him since being at IBG, and
Yep, and he's a great
there's
guy, dude. Great
he's great,
dude.
man.
Yeah, he's
He's
awesome.
solid. He's got a lot of experience. He's got a lot of knowledge. But nah, he's a really good guy to have in your corner for sure. But I've been some of those January mornings, February mornings there, and it is cold.
Oh,
You can see your
dude.
breath when you're warming up, but it's a good gym, man. I love it. And there's good people there. He's really good experience. I mean, a lot of talented fighters out of that place. So um one of the questions I actually had a buddy of mine ask me. I said, "Hey, I'm recording with a professional boxer. He's got a lot of experience. He wanted to know, similar to myself, but he kind of wants to know, what are some of the key things when it comes to Golden Gloves? Obviously, volume is one thing, cardio is another. Um, from your experience, obviously you have a lot of it. Like, what is some main things that you want to be on top of and ready for to get, kind of the edge against your opponent?
So the biggest thing is, you gotta be in fight shape. Like your conditioning, you gotta take that serious. Because a lot of the times some of those fights come, you could be the better athlete, because I fought some guys that were better athletes than me, more athletic. But at the end of the day, it's, who's got more endurance, who's got more, the conditioning, especially in amateur, right? So the biggest thing that I always, even with like when people ask me, it's like you got to be in shape, because there's there's being in shape and then there's fight shape, and those are two very different things because you fight in like sprints is what I call it, especially when in the amateurs, there's really no feeling out process.
Mm,
You literally, so that bell rings and you're throwing leather. So a lot, I would say incorporate a lot of like I used to do a lot of just sprints, a lot of sprint work, hill sprints,
yeah,
um, a lot of like medicine ball throws or like slams with like burpees. But that's like the biggest thing is making sure that you got your condition. The second one is you got to make sure you have your basics down, like fundamentals, because at the end of the day, even if you're tired you should be able to jab somebody. And that
yeah,
was one thing that was instilled in me because I'm not gonna lie, there was times where I was tired, whether it be from an adrenaline dump or, a bad cut, maybe I was sick or something, but making sure your fundamentals and you got your basics like on point, that's gonna save you a lot too because um then you can learn to manage your stamina as well. And that's just like moving around in the ring, setting up your combinations, just jabbing somebody, And I say that, but this fight too, like there was a lot of things like for my professional fight that I I've watched it multiple times, and I'm just like, damn, I should have jabbed more, because like the jab, you gotta have a good jab. So,
absolutely.
and I was like, damn, I didn't throw that enough, and I'm over here, preaching like, but it's different scenarios depending on the fighter, that
Yeah.
whatever's going on at the time. But that would be like my biggest thing for like Golden Gloves, especially if you're trying to do the tournament, if you're trying to fight is, you got to make sure your ass is in fight shape, you
Mhm.
know, have your basics and your fundamentals for sure because what you when you're tired, whatever you do in practice, like you'll do that in the ring. And also train how you want to fight because a lot of guys they'll have gloves, they have fights, but when they train, they train at a just, like one pace. They don't really push themselves, or they're scared to get tired in the gym. And my
Yeah.
biggest thing is like, dude, don't be scared to get tired. Like get tired in the gym, wear yourself out, like push there, because then that way you're used to going at that level anyways. Your recovery is gonna be, impeccable. But if you're already used to just going hard, hard practice, and that's one thing, dude, is like I'm not afraid to get tired in the gym. Like I don't like even like sparring, there's days where, I might feel good and I might do good. But then there's other days where depending on the day or whatever happened during the day, you know, um I go in there and it's a tough day at the office. There's a lot of great fighters in the gym, so you know the biggest thing is just like train how you fight or how you want to fight. Don't be lazy with that.
That's good advice. I haven't thought of it that way. Um, but I mean, it makes sense. If you're training to fight a certain way, you may as well do that every
Hmm.
time you're in training. And it's funny you said about the jab because every every Golden Gloves fight I've been to every year, all the tournaments, whatever, 85 to 90% of the screams from the crowd, jab, jab,
Jab.
jab. Just throw your jab, throw volume, show activity, do something to make sure the judges don't screw you over because they seem to do that every year, right? But
Bro,
that's a
don't even
that's a
get me
diff.
don't even get me started. I'm still mad about, yeah.
I know, I know. This it's boxing, man. I remember last year, or no, I think it was this past tournament, and right before the cards were or the scores were announced, the ref held up blue's hand, waited for the crowd, and then he held up red's hand, waited for the crowd. I'm like, don't do that. because those
Yeah.
judges are gonna hear like, don't do that shit, man. Nothing about that is okay.
No.
Um, but no, jab, activity, cardio, fight training. It's good that you said that too about being fight ready compared to being just in shape, like fight shape compared to being in shape. You want to be in shape when you start fight camp, is what I would assume.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely like you want to be in somewhat shape, right? Because
Yeah.
you because fight camp should be tailored for, you got to work on specific things, you train different depending on the fight too. You work on different things. And one of the biggest things that like I'm a big fan of is drilling. Drillers make killers, because like whenever I run the class on Wednesdays at IBG, dude, that's majority of the stuff that we do is a lot of drilling because
Are you
that's
Wednesday?
just
Are you Wednesday night,
yeah, Wednesday night. Yep, yep.
6 p.m.?
Yep. Well, 6:15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be seeing me there.
Dude, awesome. Yeah,
I
hey,
always go in the mornings, and like I told Damon, I'm like, hey, if I'm trying to compete next year, or if I am competing next year, I obviously need to
no,
start
bro.
coming more at night.
Look, come
So
in, dude. I'd be more than happy. Like, I just love boxing, bro. Like,
absolutely,
if I can, teach you or work with anybody, like, I'm all for it.
here, man.
I'm always one to give back. So, yeah,
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. No, I'm more than interested. I haven't since we moved. I haven't hung up. I got a double M bag and a heavyweight bag that I've had for a couple of years, and then been I've been boxing training, I guess, since I moved out here. But like, it's actually been a little more serious since IBG. But I know at night is where it's like
yeah,
the next step. So, yeah. But sorry. So back on. So you say Wednesdays you teach drillers make killers, which is a great phrase.
yeah, that dude. Honestly, because like, it's just muscle memory.
Mhm.
A lot of the combinations I throw now they're just instilled in me. It's just like, it's like going back to getting tired, bro. Even if I'm tired, I'll throw the same combination regardless if I'm tired because it's just the muscle memory that I have from it is just, you know, and it's like one of my go-to combinations. I don't want to say too much, because I don't know who could be watching. My next opponent, I don't know. I ain't gonna give that info away, you know, but um but yeah, it's just drilling, dude. Drilling, drilling, drilling. Like that was that a lot of my training that I mean it's very generic, right? Because there everybody wants like the secret sauce, but road work, you
Yep.
do your boxing, you hit the bags, you do a lot of jump rope, sparring, calisthenics. Keep it simple,
It's honestly the same, or I mean, I tell the same thing because sometimes I'll teach in the mornings there. If Damien needs a day off or something like that, I'll be teaching like the members at like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Nice.
And like there's definitely times where I'm like, hey, I just want a jab cross. Just give me a jab cross for 5 straight minutes. I don't care if it gets boring. You just focus on your technique, all that stuff, and you get pretty much just a good of a workout. And it's all the
Dude,
basics, like let's jump rope. I want 2 rounds, 2 3-minute rounds of jump rope, and then let's do 2 rounds of shadow boxing, one with weights, one without, or something like that. Like just all simple basics. But you're right, some of the simplest things. And Terrence Crawford actually said that uh, quite a few years ago. I remember he was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and Joe was asking him about training. He's like, I just keep it simple, just road work, like spar, jump rope, like all the
is
simple
it
stuff.
yeah, and but there's also like and I've learned this along the way. And this was given like it was some of the best advice I heard, and it was given to me by, somebody I respect a lot, which like Anthony, right? Anthony Sims. He I learned this from him was like, you know, you like for me, right? Like I have a 4 round fight, you know, you you don't want to do more than what you need, because more isn't always good, if that makes sense. Because you don't want to burn yourself out, Monday, Tuesday, you go hard, and then what, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, your conditioning or your technique it's gonna suffer. So that's one thing that I've definitely learned because like, dude, I like when it comes to sparring, I love to spar. Like don't get me wrong, like, but it's not necessary for me to do 12, 16 rounds. Like, there's it's kind of dumb, like
Right.
I like it because it's fun, but it's just, you got to train for what you got. So it's like, for like the amateurs, right? If you're fighting 2 minute rounds, dude, you better fucking go. Like you like your pace has to just bop 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 bop, 2 minutes, and then you got your rest, and then so you train for that. If you got a 3 round fight, you train for a 3 round fight. Um, that way the body doesn't wear and tear as much. And I'm still new to this, right? I'm still learning. I still got a lot of learning to do. I'm no professional by any means, because myself, I'm a workhorse. I always do. My philosophy is always do one more round. No matter
Yeah.
if you're tired, no matter one more. You always got one more. If you can breathe, you can talk, you good. You can
Yeah.
do another one. So
Yeah.
that's just my philosophy.
It's something that like drives me crazy every year at Golden Gloves, where it's like it's 2 minutes.
Hmm.
You have 6 minutes of runtime, and people will like feel each other out. I'm like, hey, this 30 seconds just went by. Like
Yep.
almost half the round is almost over, and you guys maybe throwing a combination of like four punches. Like, go, go, go. It doesn't have to be pretty, you know. I mean, make a dogfight, get some volume out there. Um, and then obviously you start to tell like the more like later on in the night, the more experienced guys fight, and you're like, okay, there we go. Now we got some action
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, because they're used to fighting like that. They're just used to going, and that's one thing I learned quickly in the amateurs was, well, the biggest thing that I learned was, dude, you just gotta go. And my thing is, like, I hate being tired. I don't like being tired. So I remember I had a kickboxing match one time, and I got tired. I was like dog tired after the first round. I don't know what happened, but I was like, I still won the fight, but dude, I was like, I never want to feel like this ever again.
Mhm.
And I think it traumatized me to the point where I'm like, you know, going back to that, not doing too much, but then in my head, I'm like, no, let's do one more, because I just want to make sure that I get good quality training and my conditioning is on point.
So speaking of that, you mentioned, when years ago, you were obviously a little more on the thicker side of life.
Yeah.
So what I don't need to know like how you got that size. What was it that you were like, you know what, I need to make a change or there's some adjustments I have to do.
Man, so the there's a funny story to that. Because it was one of my buddies, one of my best friend, his brother. It was his wedding, and we all took pictures, right? And like I've had childhood friends. They're that my two best friends, Daniel and Ricardo. Those are my two homies for life. They're like my older brothers. But we took a picture, and dude, I like next to his brother, and dude, you looked at me, and I did not look my age. I looked old. I was fat, out of shape. I was looking like a roly poly, like Majin Buu. Like, yeah, dude, I was just like. And then also just talking with my dad, because at the time I had told him, like, Dad, I want to fight, but he told me, well, if you want to fight, you're fucking fat, like you got to get in shape. So I was like, okay. So then I started to, you know, look into a lot of different ways just to lose weight. And then that's whenever I was introduced to, like, we were talking the other day. I got introduced to intermittent fasting. That was one of the key principles, and I still do it to this day. Like my first, like, dude, I literally just ate like 4 hours ago. That was my first meal.
My
Um,
wife
I,
would yell at me when I try to do that.
oh, really?
She's
I
like,
mean,
"No, you're starving yourself." I'm like, "Yeah,
there's
but
yeah,
I saw so and so did it."
yeah, and
I've done it and I see the results. I know what
but yeah, and then I got in, like ketosis, like keto, like fad. I call them fad diets, like
you mean.
keto, and you do the millet. Like I did a lot of stupid stuff. Um, you know, just like anything. Like I just tried everything. I was like, dude, I gotta get in shape. I gotta do this. But the biggest thing that stuck with me was just the fasting. And I'm not one to push my lifestyle. Like by no means am I a professional. I was just having a talk this morning at the gym with one of the guys, and he's like science based, like and I'm always open minded. That's the thing with me, is like, hey, if you got something to teach me, I want to know, I want to learn, because
Mhm.
the day you stop learning, that's the day you die. So I always like to keep my mind open. when it comes to stuff like that. But that's essentially what got me to lose the weight was really just looking at myself, and I was like, damn, I like Majin Buu, like with a mustache.
what was your heaviest you were at?
260 was the heaviest that I got.
Okay.
Yeah, 260. And then whenever well shit, when I was at IBG, when I first went in there, I was 240. That
Okay.
was yeah, I was 240. And then, like I told you, my first boxing match was at 203,
Mhm.
which I cut 20 pounds for that fight. Um, you know, and I hate amateur boxing when it comes to weigh-ins because you have
Let's talk about cutting weight. Obviously for Golden Gloves you have to basically weigh in every week. So
yeah.
you're basically always just feeling like shit. Um, so not to derail too much from that, we'll get back to it. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
let's say you are a week out from your fight. Ideally, what let's say okay, let's say for you, you fight at 165, right? Or what do you fight?
For the amateurs, yeah.
For
Well, I
amateurs,
was
okay.
yeah.
For professional, what do you fight at?
So I just had my debut at 160, but I'm about to go down to 154. That's where I
God
feel yeah,
dang. Okay.
yeah.
So at 160, you want to weigh in at 160. What do you try to weigh at a week before fight week when it
So
starts?
so it's different because with the with amateur you have to weigh in the same day. So you weigh in the same. It's like wrestling, right? It's like you weigh
Yeah,
in the same day and then you compete and fight that same day. As to with professional, you weigh in the day before.
right.
So like myself, like I was the week of the fight I was like 168, dude. I really didn't do a hard cut, you
Okay,
know.
that's good.
Yeah, I didn't do it crazy like because I've cut 20 pounds before. It's not fun. Like it's hell. Because I've done like the MMA like cutting way of doing it and like the water purging as as some people know it by. But for my profession,
Do you want to explain that? Just because I'm
yeah.
sure some people don't know.
So there's a lot of different ways that people do it. Some people drink just you start out with drinking a lot of water, right? So the way that I did it was it's called water loading. So you essentially cut out all carbs, any salt, and you're just eating fat and protein. Like that's all you eat. But like let's say if the weigh-in is um on Friday, right? And this is only if I was to do like a big cut, but I would do like 2 gallons on Sunday, 1 gallon on Monday, 1 gallon on Tuesday, half of that Wednesday. Thursday, you get a little 16-ounce bottle, and then Friday, when you weigh in, you essentially you don't drink anything, don't eat anything. And what that does is it tricks your body into there's a chemical. I don't know the scientific term, but it just makes you piss a lot, bro. Like whenever you're drinking half a gallon, you're still pissing like if you were drinking two. So
Oh
your
yeah.
body, yeah, it tricks your body into just pissing, just and, and you're hydrated because you're you're just peeing and it's clear. But I've done it like that before. Um, back when I was kickboxing, that because we weighed in the day before, and then you fight the day after, so I was able to put on some weight. But for the amateurs, I was always like same thing, 8 to 10 pounds, above my fight weight. So the week of the fight would just be real chill. I would definitely just lower my food consumption, my limit my water intake, but just make sure I'm sweating.
Mm.
That way, the whenever I have to weigh in, so like when I was fighting at 165, um, usually the day before I was already on weight. But then once I was on weight, I would just not drink, not eat anything, just wait till weigh-ins. I think we're at 4:30. So once I weighed in, I was like, okay, time to Pedialyte. I drink water, go to Subway, Fazoli's, because since I was later on in the night, I didn't fight till like 10, 10:30, 9. So I had some time to recover. So uh, that's the way that I did it whenever I was in the amateurs. Because dude, I hate cutting weight like that. I hate it so much. It's a drag, but sometimes you gotta do it.
Mm. I remember last year, a friend of mine, he was at IBG, Devin.
Hey,
He
rest in peace.
Yeah, thank you. He competed. That was his first time at Golden Gloves, and he fought at 176, but he's never cut weight before, so he weighed in at 168 or something like that. He just didn't. I mean, to his credit, like he's never had a
Yeah.
cut weight. Um, and I think the same happened this year with Chris Borf and Kevin.
Yep.
Yeah, Chris and Kevin. I think both came a little under. Damien told me, but yeah, I mean, it's probably difficult for like. Would you suggest practice cutting weight before you actually have to cut weight? Like, how do you like
So
prevent from
my
coming in under?
my thing with that is especially like amateur, you want to try to get to your ideal weight because the you're essentially weighing in the same day and you're fighting the same day.
Okay.
So if you're depleting yourself and you're wearing yourself out come fight night, you're gonna feel it. So like there was one of the guys, his name's Chris, as well. They're in the gym. Um, he was fighting at 156.
Yep.
And I told him, I'm like, listen, we're gonna get you as close as we can to the weight. That way, if because like you can lose 2, 3 pounds and it's not that bad, right? That's a light little jog, little jump rope, some
Hmm.
shadow boxing, and you'll be on weight. You don't have to you don't have to hurt yourself or do too much. So what I would recommend for the amateurs, like I said, this is just me, my opinion. Like I could be wrong, I could be right, I don't know, right? But I definitely would say try to maintain yourself within your weight. Don't go more than 10 pounds over what you're fighting at because anything more than that, like you're just gonna be drained. So like me, like I always try to be 8 to 10 pounds above what I'm fighting at anyways. Um,
Like walking
so
around weight or
yeah,
just like
yeah, yeah.
okay, walking around. Okay.
But some people are different, right? Because like I know guys that they cut 20 pounds, but they're professionals, that's the professional and amateur is very different because like in the professional world, especially like you look at some of the MMA guys, some of the UFC guys, these guys cut 20, 30 pounds, 35 pounds, like water, and
Yeah,
it's just like
it's wild.
you know but they can do that.
Yep.
And but that's what I mean between a professional and an amateur, because like professional, you get like 24 hours to rehydrate, you know, basically. And even then, like, there's science to it, but there's also, from what I understand, there's easier ways to make weight instead of like, doing it the traditional way where everybody just put on a sauna suit, just heavy, trash bags, and then you sweat. There's like a whole science to it. And, by no means am I a professional, but that's just like from my experience that I've dealt with it, that's what I took away from it. Because I've cut weight for fights the wrong way, and then I've also done it what I thought was the right way. Because the first time that I lost, my one, yeah, my first loss that I took, it was at 165. Um, I remember what was his name? Omar Murillo. Um, I did a bad weight cut, and dude, it was my performance lacked. Like my performance just sucked. Like I looked tired. I wasn't throwing. Like I felt like shit in the ring. But then that was when that was the second year I won the gloves. So because I got the rematch with him the second year that I fought for Golden Gloves. And then we ran it back and then I beat him because I actually did things smarter. So, I've like I said, I've had both sides of the spectrum where it's like I've cut a lot of weight, but it's different depending on what it is. Because it's like if you're competing the same day, dude, you don't gotta cut 20 pounds like that. You're gonna suffer.
Hmm.
It's gonna show in your performance. Compared to like if you get a whole day to weigh in and then you fight the day after, cool. I'm all for it. Most professionals they cut 15 to 20 pounds anyways from what they walk around.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've seen people come in a lot more. I mean, I see it a lot more in I think like UFC fights and stuff where they step foot on that scale and they just look just an hour away from death.
I mean,
Like
look at
you could
McGregor whenever he
Connor
was
at
fighting at
145.
145.
Connor at 145 was bad. Um, there was I can't think of who it was, but there's just some where you just see these people, and you're like, my gosh, man.
Yeah,
And then
they
you
look
fight, then you try to kill each other the next day. Like it's completely unhealthy. Like there's
it.
nothing healthy about it at
No,
all.
but it's just it's to gain an edge in a sense, you know.
It's
Um,
I mean, if you are like weight bully some people, but some people, I mean, they make weight and they fight a little bit heavier than what their weight class is, and they perform great.
I mean, look
Um,
look look at there's a lot of weight bullies, you know, over the years and
yeah,
recently, you know,
yeah.
but and it's that edge, right? Because it's just like um they used to do things a lot different back in the day compared to now. Because there's a lot of scientific research. There's the right way and the wrong way to do things, you know.
Mhm.
And I think people are getting more educated on how to cut weight the smarter way.
So what did your so when you were at your heaviest and you started trimming down, 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 what was your nutritional switch? Like what were some simple adjustments or adjustments that you made to just start to
Um,
just shed them off, shed those
so,
pounds off?
it's the same thing that I'm doing now, which is it was just
Fasting.
changing, yeah, just with my fasting, but also just changing my because I don't really call it a diet because I eat clean like 85 to 90% of the time. And then the other, you know, I enjoy my wings, pizza,
Mhm.
tacos. You know, I enjoy because dude, I love food. Like if I could have one superpower, it'd just be I could eat and not get fat. Like that would be my superpower.
That's
But
yeah,
but a lot of it is like I eat very animal based. Um, so I eat a lot of you know, a lot of ground beef. That's like 70% of my diet. I eat a lot of ground beef. I eat a lot of whole eggs. I eat a lot of, you know, uh pasteurized like whole milk. A lot of avocado, a lot of good fats, and a lot of fruit. Like I love my fruit. And Greek yogurt. So that's essentially what my diet, if you want to call it a diet, but it's a lifestyle, I guess,
the
if you want to call it.
lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like um everybody's different, right? And I never push like my way of eating or my way of doing things because like there's plenty of ways to get to 10, right? If I told you, hey, give me some numbers that'll make up 10, you know, you could do 2 plus 8, 5 plus 5. There's a lot of ways to get to 10. So, but for me, that's what worked best, right? And it could be because it's my body type. It could be just the way that my genetics. I don't know, but for me, that's what the biggest change was just, you know, eating um more whole foods. And dude, I love butter. I eat butter like man. I cook everything in butter.
What kind of butter do you use? Because I'm using the like the Irish Gold,
Dude, yeah, that's
but
that's what I yeah, that's what I use. Yeah, dude, that
that stuff
stuff
is
is
that stuff
money.
is great, and it's healthier too.
It is, dog.
Um,
Dude, I love my butter. Like that's yeah. Like, and it's crazy because when I tell people that, they're like, "Isn't that bad for you?" Oh, your cholesterol. I'm like, listen, because I don't want to get all political. I don't, you know, whatever. But it's like a lot of the times when we'll call it the government, right? When they tell you, you know, look at all the
yeah,
research, look
yeah,
at all the research that they're coming up with. All of a sudden, eating cereal is healthy. No, get out of here. Like,
no.
no, that's, everything that they tell you to eat, do the opposite, and you'll be good.
Man, I
But
saw somebody post a video or they shared a video yesterday or a couple days ago, and it was some, I don't know, influencer like comparing like, I just found this out at Walmart, that great value brand. And I'm like, I'm not even gonna watch this video. Like,
no,
first off, how are you surprised that that brand is not good for you?
yeah.
Um, the only thing nice about it is probably the price, and that's probably not even that good anymore. Um, yeah, I would agree with you in certain things that are pushed as far as nutrition are skewed from a false narrative or not. I don't know how I would word that, but the healthier foods need to be pushed more than the unhealthy foods. Let's put it that way.
Oh, absolutely. Because I mean, for me, it's more like, how do I put it? Like we're we're wired, right, differently. Like our I know everybody's like, "Oh, we don't live in those times anymore." But it's like we used to live in a time where you had to go hunt and gather, right?
Yeah.
So you would go, you would fight off whatever was attacking you, or and then you cook it, right? And then you eat it. So like for me, my biggest thing is like I call it like my edge, right? So going back to the fasting, for me, as soon as I wake up, if I'm putting something in my body, like food wise, I don't feel like I deserve it because I haven't done anything to deserve that food. Unless like if I already went to the gym, if I already did something, if I accomplished something, then okay, cool. But for me, right, it's just like my weird views of life, if you want to call it. But to me, it's like if I haven't completed anything, I haven't done anything that's really worthwhile, then why do I reward myself with food? And that could stem from, you know, uh, not psychological issues, but that's just the way that I see it, right? It's like,
That's a really good mindset to have though in anything if you think about it. Like let's say if we're at work, you're like, "Oh man, I'm gonna go take a break." I haven't really earned a break though. Like if you think about it, I've just been like scrolling on my phone or something like that. But especially when it comes to nutrition, if you apply that, um, that's a good way of looking at it. I looked at it in one way. I remember it was probably some like I don't know, some fight camp video I was watching, and uh, it was when Connor was making 145. He's like, I go on all of my road work, all my runs, empty stomach. I don't eat anything because it puts my body in survival mode where like it makes me zone in more, lock in, and then when it comes time to reward myself, like it just
yeah.
feels more earned.
Well, and for me, it's like I'm like that with a lot of things, right? Even like with the podcast, right? The fact that you asked me to be on your podcast, like, dude, I was thrilled. I was
It
excited. I
was when
was
I
like,
met you
holy,
too. Like this, I
yeah,
finally met you in person. I'm like, hey man, let's do this. Like,
yeah. So, to me, I would never be like, hey, I'm this and this. You should have me on your podcast. No, no, no. I'm not like that. I'm very like I need to deserve and earn things. For me
humble,
to like, yeah,
very humble. Yeah,
yeah,
I
that
get
that
it.
just
Yeah.
yeah, that's just how I am, right? Because it's funny because I just did a podcast this morning with one of my sponsors, and they're doing, so I just did a podcast this morning with them, and then today I'm doing this with you. So like, dude, I'm humbled and I'm super appreciative. Like I always tell everybody from the bottom of my heart, thank you for the opportunity, for letting me tell my story, for letting me just ramble, I guess, but that's just that's just how I am. It's just um I feel like you gotta deserve things. You gotta put in some type of work to get a reward.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. Um, I wanted to ask you also about, well, Canelo fights this weekend.
Oh, dude, I am excited for that.
I'm excited for that, man. I think that's going to be a good one. I, it's always interesting to see when Oscar's involved with how things go, but
Dude,
um,
the
I
press
think this,
conference had me cracking up. I ain't gonna lie,
I think this fight, is going to be a lot better than some people think. Like, because what's Manuel's record? Isn't he
dude, yeah,
43,
yeah, he's
44-0?
well, see, a lot of people are sleeping on it because they have him as the underdog, but you know, Munguia is actually he's
Oh,
he's pretty
Mangia. Gosh, I
well,
thought it was a different name for a second. I
no,
was
no,
reading
no,
something else at the same time. My bad.
no,
Oops.
no, you're good, you're good. But no, like um he's very good, a good fighter too. He throws a lot of punches too. Um, so I think if because like I'm always Team Canelo, like that's my dude.
Yeah,
That's one of
me
the
too.
people that I actually gotta hold on, see if I could do this.
I got I
No, hold on,
remember
let me turn that light on.
I
Hold on a
think
sec.
I'm trying to think. I've been Team Canelo since he's been around for so long. Because he turned pro when he was 18.
No,
Um
he was younger than that.
16?
Yeah,
Okay, it was 16.
well, 15, but we'll call it 16.
God dang. All right. 15. And then he fought Floyd when he was probably only
He was like 21, dude. He was
22, 20.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was young,
And
young,
he and
young.
he drained Canelo down to 154. I remember watching that fight.
Dude,
God
I was
dang,
pumped. Like
I was
I'm
pumped
not
for that
gonna
one.
lie. Like at the moment, I was waiting for Canelo to knock Mayweather out. Like I was like, this is it. Like I was excited about that fight, but then it's he just wasn't ready.
He wasn't ready. Floyd was smart with it. Floyd
I
did
mean,
what
it's
Floyd
Floyd,
did.
bro. Floyd's just
Yeah.
his. But hey, let me turn this light on real quick because I don't want it to get too dark. So, like,
All right,
yeah,
man.
give me one
Yeah.
second.
Yeah, you're good, man. I um I still think, I mean, I'd like to see Canelo fight. I'd like to see Canelo fight Benavidez. I think if Canelo and Benavidez fight probably this September, because Canelo always fights
Yeah,
he fights in May and
May
September.
or September. Yeah,
Yep. So I guess we'll kind of see what happens after this one, but I don't know. I don't know. He doesn't have many years left, I feel like, but he's still, I mean, he's still I still think he's the face of boxing right now.
I do too.
So, I don't know. It just depends on how his body holds up. I mean, he's been at it for a while. It's not like he's that old either. It's just he's got a
No,
lot
but
of
he's been in
wars.
some. Yeah, he's been in a lot of wars, and he's fought a lot of tough opponents, dude. I mean, he's fought a lot of world champions. He's. I mean, you look at his resume, and like, bro, like he's fought some dogs.
I mean, like it's one of those resumes where you look back, you're like, oh, I forgot that he fought. I mean, I forgot that he fought Cotto or Mosley or
Mosley.
um Anguilo, maybe Pete Sanguilo. Man, yeah, I mean, he's fought everybody. Triple G 3 times. Um, who knows? It could be one of those things too, like what's next for him, I guess. But we'll see. We'll see this weekend. I'm pretty stoked for it. So
I am too, bro. Like, I'm, I'm ready to get some carne asada going. Watch the fights.
I'm actually making that on Saturday.
Is that what you're making? Ah,
I'm
dude.
attempting to. I really what I do is I cook. So I cook all the time. That's probably my issue when it comes to my weight. Well, actually here, let's circle back to that. So I used to be I used to work in the brewery industry for like 6 or 7 years. So craft
Nice.
beer. So craft beer, and then I'm moving kegs around and like moving grain back, like a lot of like manual labor stuff. So I have a strong back, but I also have I had, I think the heaviest I weighed was like 230, 235. But that's because you're drinking like beers and moving kegs and climbing ladders and hauling all this stuff. Um, and then I'm trimming down now. January, I stopped drinking from January to mid February. And I lost 20 pounds. And
Damn.
then,
Good
and
for you,
then,
dude.
well, it's still like I float around 210, 212. So I just want to get to 180, for sure 180 by the end of the year, which I know I have a lot of time, but I want to use it on my advantage, right? So like my problem is I cook every meal pretty much. So I cook all the time. Anyone who follows me on Instagram probably sees my stories and stuff, but like I'm always cooking. So Saturday I'm doing well, I don't know yet because I got pork shoulder and then I got chuck roast. So I'll do
Bro.
either or, but I mean if I'm doing carnitas, it's in the crock pot with like all your
I'll say if you
cumin,
want to
chili
do
powder,
some like
citrus. I got all this.
if you want to do carne asada, like go with some arrachera. I don't know how to say it in English, but
I'll
if
look
you
it
go
up.
into yeah, if you go into the Mexican store, bro,
I think
you
there's one
go
actually down the street. There's a couple down the street from me, and I go
so if
in
you get
there and I love it.
yeah, so if you get the arrachera, that's oof, bro, or diezmillo, oh, bro, that's some good stuff right there. For like if you're grilling it, if you're trying to like, that's just like my 2 cents. But if
Okay.
you're yeah, if you're trying to go for that, that's what I would get is
Okay.
some arrachera. It's a little expensive. I don't know how much. Last time I checked, it was like $12 a pound. But
That's not, I mean, like a ribeye. Ribeyes are like 11 to 12 a pound, which is
yeah,
a good, I mean, that's a good cut of meat. So
dude,
we'll see.
I love
We'll
steak.
see. I do too, man. I did. My brother works in the restaurant industry, so he came down and he just brought a bunch of like steaks that he has at his restaurant and stuff.
Lucky,
And it's like,
dude.
man, this. I got strips. I have a bunch. So if you want to come over sometime, or I'll come up
No,
down
I would
there.
I
Yeah,
would
I
love
have.
to, man. Or if you're selling any, I'll buy some because
I'll drop some
like,
off. I'll drop some off at the gym.
dude, yeah, no, because my fridge stays stocked up with, well, ribeye's a little expensive. That's why I
Yeah.
say, ground beef. That's like majority of of my my meats, but I'll throw in some ribeyes. Like
You know,
that's
I just learned the difference between grass fed and then grass finished ground beef.
yes,
Have you heard of that?
I have. Yeah, I got educated. So I started I don't know how to say his last name. Sandino, and I learned that from him on Instagram. I started following him and I started getting very educated on all that. And so a lot of the meat that I eat is grass fed, not grass finished. Because there's a difference, and I don't remember what the correlation is, but a lot of the stuff, like even the butter, the milk that I drink, it's a little more expensive, but it's all grass fed. And keyword try to buy as organic as I can. But that can get a little expensive sometimes. So
It can get expensive, yeah. So my last episode, I had my buddy Tyler Sapp on, and he and his wife are doing basically carnivore, and he's talked to me about grass fed and grass finished. And grass fed is pretty much the the cow has access to
mm,
um to grass if he wants it, but I think he's still in a cage. I think he has access to both. Grass finished, I think, is he just has access to the grass.
grass.
Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and I'm like, well, that's interesting because that's probably another way that like you can get like twisted when you're buying your beef and stuff. 'Cause I didn't know that. I just learned that, and I know I'd like to slowly dive into that a little bit more, just because I mean we have a chest freezer. I like having it stocked as much as I can with meats. I mean, ground beef is solid. Steak, if you can get like a deal on some cuts.
Oh, dude.
Um, some salmon, chicken, stuff.
I mean, you can't go wrong with chicken, but you know,
Yeah.
like for me, it's like I have chicken maybe twice a week,
Twice
maybe.
a week.
Yeah, it depends. Like, cause dude, I'm telling you, whenever I was going through all those crazy diets, that's all I ate was chicken. Like chicken, chicken, chicken. I was like on the body, like the bro diet. I was just eating
Bro
chicken
diet,
and
chicken and
rice
rice.
and
Yeah.
broccoli, and I was like, man, forget all that. Like, I want to enjoy some food, you know. And dude, I eat a lot of cheese, like a lot of like grass fed, you know, cheese. Because that's one thing I eat a lot too is cheese. Like I love my cheese.
Yeah.
That's
I
why,
love it too.
like my favorite food's pizza and tacos, but like pizza is like, it has cheese. So,
Do you make your own pizza dough?
man, I've tried, dude, but one time I read the instructions wrong, and you know how you're supposed to use baking powder, like 1/4 or whatever? Or like it's very little baking powder or whatever it's called, or the yeast, or I don't remember what it's called. But dude, I put way too much. And so whenever I put it in the oven, I was like, dude, I was so proud of myself. I told my girl, I was like, look, I made homemade pizza. Check this out. Dude, I bit into that. Oh my, dude, the saltiest, nastiest dough you could ever taste. So I haven't tried to make my own homemade in a while.
So I got a recipe I can send you that I actually got.
I'll
Um,
say if you got something, bro, send it my way,
so
cause
so my brother, when he came down, it was during UFC 299. He came down, and I'm a big Dustin Poirier
I
fan.
know I was gonna say
Just
you
just
got the
realized I
Poirier
got the
shirt.
shirt. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's
um
dope.
and I was like, all right, well, so every time he fights, I'm making some type of like Cajun dish. So I'm doing like jambalaya, or I do like a Cajun chicken Alfredo, or wings. I always do wings.
I
But
love wings.
so I was like, all right, let's do wings on the smoker. I kind of like have got it somewhat down to like a pretty solid like process now. And I'll like toss them in like some butter in the sauce, and then put them in the oven on broil so they get crispy. But he's like, all right, I'll make pizza. So I'm like, okay. And before, I would just always get like the pre-mixed dough, like the Kroger dough or whatever,
Yeah,
and it just doesn't rise the same anymore. So my brother came down, we made it, and it's pretty much as a flour, one of those small packages of like yeast, um, sugar, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt, and then like
Nice.
warm water. And then like man, it is so crazy because like you'll wrap it up and put it away, and you'll come back in a couple hours. It's just like this big
Oh,
fluffy. I'll send it to you. Send it
dude,
to
no,
you.
that's awesome. I've always wanted to learn how to like make you know how they do the pizza stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude, I that's one thing I thought was so cool.
I
So
can't
I
do
got
that.
Papa John's yesterday. Like I ain't even gonna lie, I got Papa John's yesterday. That's what I had. And I was in there, bro, and I was watching them, and they're just like I think that's a cool skill. Like if you can roll out dough and make pizza, like you got mad respect like for me because
Yeah.
that's challenging, dude.
Well, even rolling it out without like poking a hole in it and stuff, man, because you gotta get sauce and everything on there. No, that's a pretty dope skill.
No,
Yeah.
because dude, it's just so this is a little known fact about me. Is when I was younger, I actually dude, I used to actually want to be a chef when I was like 12, 13. I
Okay.
was like, I've gone through a lot of phases in my life. We'll just call it that, right? But I've always liked cooking. I was always watching like the baking shows, the cooking shows, and I wanted to go to culinary school. So I started, messing around and trying to do different recipes. And of course, my parents paid the price. Sometimes they were good, sometimes they were bad. But that's one thing that, I was always like, I want to learn how to do pizza, like just to, you know, the dough or whatever. Because like, dude, I like, and I know like, I'm Hispanic, I'm Mexican, but it's like, bro, like besides tacos, pizza is like the best thing like in the world. Like to me, personally, like that's just
Yeah.
like my dream is to go to Italy and have some pizza. Like that is like just eat their food. That's like one of my biggest dreams is just be in Italy, sit down and have some of their homemade like firewood pizza. Like,
Like
dude,
a
that's just
margarita pizza or
dude,
something like that. Yeah.
yes. I'm gonna order some more pizza, man. We got talking about pizza. No.
We've talked about cutting weight, losing weight, and now back to pizza. I like that. I like
Yeah, well, it's just like
it's a
my thing is
process.
yeah, well, the thing is like, dude, like I hate when people always like, "Oh, you gotta do this, like you gotta eat like, dude, you gotta enjoy life a little bit. Like there's a time
Mm,
and a place. Like when I'm in camp, I don't eat pizza because
okay.
again, that's like like, dude, for 4 months, right? Because I started losing the weight because I was heavy at the beginning of like the year, and then like I got down to 160. But for 4 months, bro, like 4 or 5 months, I didn't eat pizza, and I told myself I was like, okay, your reward once we win this fight, we get through it, we're gonna get pizza. Like to me, that was my reward. But when I'm in camp, I stay away from pizza, obviously, because the thing that I do when I call like my refeed day. I do wings. Like Wingstop, bro, I love their hickory smoked barbecue. Like bro, for like the last like 2, 3 months, that's all I ate. Like they already know me in there. Like I walk in there and they're like, "Hey, Yorman, you want the same?" Yes, same thing as I always
Same.
get. Yeah. But it's just, there's gotta be a happy balance, right?
Yeah, I've learned that. I've been on both. I've definitely been on the unhealthy food side, and it's just not as fun anymore. I mean, it's fun to have a balance because it almost has like this reward to it.
Yeah,
Like especially if it comes to like drinking, let's say, for example, like if you're having like beers like almost all the day, every day, or like where's a reward for it? You know what I
yeah.
mean? And it's the same for food. Like I've learned a lot more balance over the years, and um, yeah, it's things taste better when it's a reward. You know?
Absolute, dude. I'm telling you, that pizza, I didn't get it the night of the night of my fight after. I didn't because I had to go to the hospital and they took forever. But the next day, oh, bro, that was one of the best like feelings. Just like, I'm a professional now. I had my professional debut, got fight of the night. It was one of the, best performances I think I've done. And, just my reward for it was I got some pizza. I'm a simple man, dude. I'm a simple guy. Like I just it was a happy moment. And I'm
So
happy now, and I'm looking forward. Like I can't wait for my next one. Like I really can't. Like I'm really looking forward to my next fight. And obviously, like right now, I'm still resting, recovering, because I got cut and stuff. But
Right. What caused the cut? Because was it early on? What round did it happen in?
so this one I think was in the second round, and I believe from the tape that we've seen, it was from an elbow. It was unintentional, it was accidental.
Right.
You know, but because there's no way a punch is gonna do that, or
Yeah.
maybe even a headbutt. But that was from an elbow. That one I didn't even know about that one, to be honest with you. Like I it I didn't I didn't even notice it until like I was thrown. I was like, damn, dude, I got blood on me. I was like, shit, okay. And then this one, I got headbutted
Okay.
right here. So that's the one where, because I was just asked about this this morning of what was going through my mind when that happened. But um honestly, like in moments like that, you have to have that composure. You have to stay calm. Because like going into the fight, so we talked about what happened during the week of the fight. So um I did a lot of meditation. I did a lot of like um mental training. So in my head, I had already fought this guy, I don't know how many times, dude. And I thought about every worst case scenario, like how the fight could go, this and that. And one of the biggest things was like, and maybe I manifested, I don't know. But I was like, what's gonna happen if I get cut? You know, am I gonna get mad? Am I gonna freak out? Because you never know what's gonna happen until you're in that moment.
Mhm.
And whenever this happened, because he knocked my contact out, so I was half blind after the second or third round.
So you fight with your contacts in?
Yeah, I have sport contacts.
Okay, we gotta talk about that.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll talk
absolutely.
about that. Well, yeah. Sorry, keep going.
No, no, yeah, do your thing. But no, dude, like once I started seeing this, I was
Mhm.
like, this was just red. And then I wipe. You can see it in the video. I wiped my eye, and then I was like, okay, it's go time. But I had already been in that scenario in my head, so I was like, okay, first of all, I gotta make sure this eye is protected because he's probably gonna target this because
Perfect.
if it's deep enough, then the doctor will stop it. I'm like, and I don't want a doctor to stop my fight. So, I had to protect this side of my eye, but be wary about everything else. And I knew I was like, all right, it's time to like turn it up. Like I gotta, because my guy respected him, dude. Like he was a tough guy. Like he didn't he didn't come out to play. Like he came to fight. And they respected him. Tough guy, tough dude. But I was like, I gotta turn it up. And then shortly, that's whenever I dropped him. Like as soon as this happened, shortly after that, I started dropping him. Um, not round by round, but because that no, I think it was in the third round. I dropped him like two times, and then the fourth round, I dropped him like another two times. So and then my coach was, once I got in the corner. Uh, you know, great cut man. Pat McPherson, my coach Pat. Great cut man. He didn't even freak out or nothing. It's just like another day in the office for him. But we worked on what we had to do. Um, and he said it wasn't bad. So that gave me the confidence to do what I needed to do out there, which was just fight. Keep going, and then eventually once that final bell rang, we were victorious. So
Hell yeah. Um, yeah. Speaking of Coach Pat, like he's got the skills for that. Like he's perfect cut man. Like he's on bare knuckle boxing. Like
yeah,
he's
bro.
he's in there dealing with people who just
Yeah.
throwing hands. And, um, so outside of well, pretty much outside of boxing, what's life look like? Like what are your hobbies? Like what do you do? What's your day to day typical?
So it changed a little bit because I had to focus on my fight camp. So I was like 100% because I was training twice a day, which is basically gonna be my new normal going forward. Because outside of boxing, so I have I run my own I own and I run my own painting and remodeling business. So I have my own business that I do. I'm also a day trader. So um with outside of boxing, I schedule my days accordingly.
Okay.
So, and I also have to make sure that I can have my morning session training and my evening session. So, I used to wake up at like 5 in the morning and, you know, but I figured out real quickly that my recovery from waking up at 5 and then uh coming back home, because dude, I live an hour away from IBG. So some people don't know that, some people forget about that, but yeah, it takes me an hour to get to IBG and then back home. So I don't get home sometimes till like 9 or 10. So I don't go to bed till like 10:30, 11. But for me, it was like my sleeping. I've also learned to recover and sleep better. So um the way that I started to transition over was like, I would wake up, do like my morning routine, and it's nothing crazy. Like I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I do cold showers and do, do I sometimes I do. It depends on how I feel. I read a book here and there. Like I'm not fake. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you, oh, I'm this perfect because I'm not. There's days where I'm just like scrolling on my phone, and then I trade from nine to 11, and then once I'm done, depending on what happens, if I lose, if I win, whatever may happen, after that I go do my morning session, my training, and that usually is about an hour and a half. After that, anything for my business, I take care of in that timeline from 4 or 5 hours out of the day. And if I don't have nothing going on, then I will, I'll do some more business stuff on the side, or I'll play video games sometimes, like before practice. Like I said, like I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and tell you, I'm always doing this and that, but um, and then we go do the evening training, and yeah, that's my day. Like that's my day to day. So if anybody's stalking me, now you know my schedule.
Yeah, that's a
Now they
full
know.
full day. That's a full
I mean,
day.
I try, man. Like for me, it's just like I have that hustler mentality, right? So for me, it's like if I'm not doing something constantly, I feel weird.
Yeah.
Um, and like right now, um, I took a little sacrifice when it came to like the business side of stuff because, um, there was this kitchen that we were just remodeling, but um, the homeowners are super cool, super chill. Shout out to them because if it wasn't for them, bro, um, this training camp would have been a lot more stressful, I think. But they understood my schedule. They understood that what was going on, and I could come in whenever I wanted to, and they were super chill with it. So, but as far as like life outside boxing, I'm an entrepreneur, day trader. I love video games. I love food. You know, like I'm just I like to spend time with my girl whenever I'm not always training and stuff because um she doesn't see me as much as some other people do. But whenever I'm with her, sometimes we'll watch a movie, watch some anime. I'm a big anime lover, bro. I love
Ah.
anime. Like that's my thing, bro. Like when she met me, she had no idea what anime was, and now she thinks she's like some anime goddess. Like she knows more than me. I'm like, shut up. Like I introduced you. Like don't even start with me, girl.
That's funny, man.
Um, but no, man. I love my life. I love the way it is. Obviously, it's just like anything. I want more. I want to do better things. I want to do bigger things. That's just my mindset that I have. I'm never happy. So like, it's like with my debut. I'm super excited. I'm grateful. I'm blessed, but it's like there's things that I could do better, and I'm just like I think I'm my biggest hater,
Yeah.
my biggest critique in a sense, but and I know I keep going back and forth, but no, like life outside boxing, that's what I do. When I'm not training or I'm in the gym, I'm running my business or learning more about, entrepreneurship or looking at more ways for more income. Like, yeah, that's what I like to do.
What stood out, I mean, a lot stood out there, but there was the comment about like, you know, you're your biggest hater, and like there's a lot of times where I can relate to that, where it's, you know, I feel like I'm a good friend to a lot of people, or I encourage other people or build them up, and like I have to remind myself that like I need to like be there for me too,
Yep.
you know. And I think that's just like a constant like mental thing that a lot of people go through. Like I'm down on myself a lot, dude. I'm every time it's not like I seek validation, but it's like, but like I always feel like I could do better or do
Yep.
more, and like it's almost like I view it as like not acceptable to just be like, yeah, this was good. I'm like, no, I could do more, I could do better, and regardless of what it is, you know. whether it's
Yep.
at the gym or whether it's at the house or with my family or something like that. But that's something I'm trying to work on this year is just having more gratitude, and then just realizing that yeah, you could always do better, but like doesn't mean what you did was not enough.
Absolutely. No, dude, I totally relate with that because one of the biggest things that I've also learned, not recently, but like I've started to, is that you gotta take care of yourself first. Because if you're not happy, if you're not there for yourself, you know, you can't take care of other people. And that's one of the biggest things because like I'm always supporting everybody, I'm always there for everybody, but I also I've learned to be there for myself too. Because that's one of the biggest things that I struggle with because I'm a good-hearted dude, man. Like I want to see everybody do good, I have no hate towards anybody. If somebody ever did me wrong for any reason, hey, karma will take care of that, but
Hmm.
it is it is what it is, but
Yeah,
I can definitely relate to that because I'm the same way, dude. Like I always feel like I could be better. I could be a better fighter. I could be a better partner. I could be a better son. I could, it's just constantly just trying to be better. But that can also drain you sometimes. So I totally understand where you're coming from because it is draining.
I heard. I think it was Jameis Winston actually said this, and he was like, "How can you expect other people to speak life into you if you can't speak life into you?" And I was
Yeah,
like, "Bro,
dude.
that's it. Like you gotta build yourself up. You gotta love yourself too. Not to say like it's bad to love other people because I'm all about you know showing love, you know, gratitude, encouragement, and everything. But it's also like you need to refuel your tank every once in a while. So
No, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. And sometimes you gotta have just moments for yourself. Like my girl will tell you, bro. Like there's like I could be very social and I'm very, that's just how I am, but I need like my mental recharge where it's just me in my room and
yeah,
I literally would just, you know, like she's learned to deal with not deal with it, but she's learned to kind of like understand whenever like she knows
that
that
was a
I'm
good correction. If
yeah,
she hears that, like she's like, "What do you mean deal with?" No, I know what
yeah,
you mean.
yeah. But sometimes I just, she'll be like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." She's like, "Oh, she's like, "You need one of those days." I'm like, "I'm good," because at the end of the day, like, I'm supposed to be, there for her, and I'm always there for her. Or I try to be. Like I said, I could be better at a lot of things, but sometimes I need like my mental recharge. Um, Especially if I'm around a lot of people, dude. It's draining sometimes. I've learned to protect my energy too, and just if something's going on, then I either remove myself from it or I just protect, I take care of me because the biggest thing is like you said, you got to speak life into yourself. And my biggest thing is like every day I wake up with the mentality like I'm great, I'm the best version of myself, and I'm doing everything that I can to be better than I was yesterday. Because I'm never in no competition with anybody, just myself. Because at the end of the day, I look in my mirror and it's like I'm either talking crap to myself or like motivating myself or telling myself you're the shit, this and that. But I definitely believe that you have to speak. You have to believe in yourself. That's the number one thing that I think a lot of people don't do enough is they don't believe in themselves enough to do things. And I think that just having self-belief is the biggest thing that'll get you anywhere you want in life. Just having no limits. And just you know speaking good about yourself because if you can't take care of yourself, then you can't take care of other people, and then you're drained, and then you're mad at the world, or something happens, and you take it out on whatever. And I used to be bad, and I'm not perfect by any means, but like, dude, I have road rage bad. I used to. Now I'm just like, all right, whatever. Because the biggest thing that I've learned in recent years is that life is precious and life is short. I've had a lot of death in my family, and it's just the biggest thing that I learned from it is just every day is a blessing. You never know when your clock is going to expire, so you got to make the best of it. Um, being alive is a risk, so I always say, hey, why not make the best of it? Just
Yeah.
what's there to be angry about? And I learned from an example, it was like respect to all the families, right? That were involved in 9/11. But I saw this example that, they said some people missed being on that plane because something happened in their life that they thought was the worst thing at the moment, right? And it turns out that actually saved their life, because they didn't board the plane. A lot of like celebrities that were supposed to be on there didn't because something happened in their life. So now when something in my life happens where I'm like, fuck, like I'm just like and it's I'm still working on it, right? Because like I said, I'm not perfect, but instead of, now that instead of being mad all the time, I'm like, oh, what did I just avoid, or what happened, It's like when you're sitting in traffic, right? You're just like, man, fuck traffic. But then it's like you never know. Maybe that's the reason you didn't get in an accident. You just never know. And
Yeah.
I know I'm just rambling, but it's just
You're
uh
speaking truth though. There's a
I
lot
mean
of
I
truth to that.
I try, it's just I've learned life is too precious, man, and you just you always gotta just go and do anything and everything that you want to do. Go and do it. There's nobody that's stopping you but yourself,
Yeah.
and I believe that 100%, because I had like a year and a half to no like 2 year long absence, where I went through some stuff like family stuff, some life stuff, whatever, um that like we were talking going back to like leading up to this fight, how I felt, and it was just like just remembering all that, what I had to go through to get to here. Um, at the moment, I thought it was like the worst time of my life, but honestly, now that I look at it, I'm glad that all that happened to me, because I'm so grateful, and I have all this gratitude, and I have this newfound knowledge, and I'm able to enjoy the moment more. And I'm able to enjoy all those things, and you know be where I'm at, and I know exactly where I'm going, and that's what I've learned.
Heck yeah, man. Amen to that. Um, I kind of want to wrap up with that because that was really good, but I just want to ask so what's next as far as your fight goes? Do you have any word? Or are you waiting to heal up before you start having talks about your next fight?
So from what I understand right now, there's gonna be another show July 27th.
Yep.
So I'm definitely trying to be on that card again. I was trying. There was another card this month, May 11th, that I was trying to get on.
It's
Um,
Jabbar's fight.
yeah, Javar's fighting. Johnny's fighting.
I'll be there.
Susanna's fight. Yeah, I'll be there too. But I was trying to be on that card, but I was like, well, let's see how this fight goes. And obviously, it wasn't meant to be. I got cut, but I know right now. Um, one of my coaches told me to take like a week or two to just, I guess, heal and recover. But I'm I'm hard headed, and I've been going on like jogs and just staying active because I don't know how to stay still. Um,
Right.
but as far as like what's next is definitely I'm looking at July 27th. Um, and I mean I'm trying to be a household name. You know, I'm always, if I do something, I'm trying to just be the best, and I might be just blowing smoke up my ass, but I believe in myself, right? And I just want to fight tough guys. I want to fight, the top names, and have that opportunity to. My dream was always since I was a little kid, dude. Always wanted to be a fighter. I always wanted to be on TV and stuff. So
Yeah.
you know that's what I want. But as far as like what's next, um, right now I'm just recovering, healing up, and then we'll start camp, shortly once I get the word, and we'll go from there. I'm excited, man. I can't wait, but I've also learned you gotta have patience with
Gotta have
things.
patience, man. I'm going through a devotional on patience right now, actually, because I need patience too, man. I think patience is always overlooked. I need it too. But that's awesome, man. So okay, so you have your painting remodeling business. What's the name of that?
Precision home improvements.
Okay. And then where can everybody follow you on Instagram?
They can follow me. Hold on, let me pull this up because I don't want to say something dumb. And no, because bro, the thing is like, so I don't really talk too much about my day trading stuff anymore, or because I used to post a lot on my Instagram. But what happened with that is like a lot of fake pages started coming out, and you know, asking people, like the people are like, "Hey, how's your day going? How's your trading? Oh, you want to make like,"
Yeah,
and
I get
it
that.
just it gets on my nerves because I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, like I would never ask anybody for money or, you know, ask to invest with me, none of that stuff. So I'm wary about that. So they can follow me on underscore YORMAN dot GUERRERO. So I don't know if you could see that.
Yeah, I see it. I got it. I'll post a tag and everything once we post this. But had to get the
Yeah.
plug out there for you, man.
No, I appreciate that, man. All love always. You know, I definitely appreciate the opportunity for letting me talk your ear off for the last, hour, hour and a half.
No,
You
man, you
know,
can come down anytime. I know if you got a fight coming up before or after, you can always come on or just come on anyways. So you're welcome anytime.
no, dude, honestly, like it's crazy. It's awesome. Like I'm blessed and I'm humbled that I get to be on here and you gave me the opportunity to be on your podcast. So I'm always grateful for stuff like that. So, definitely appreciate that. But yeah, just stick around, we're just getting started.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it. I'll see you at the gym.
absolutely, brother. I
All
appreciate
right,
it.
man. See ya.